were just insane. We have Kota Ibushi on night 1 is like, yeah, I'm gonna have a match of the year, and then on night 2 he's like, I'm gonna take the number 1 and 2 spot for match of the year, 2 nights in a row. The WrestleKingdom show was amazing, and again, we probably landed with at least 2 more match of the years off of this show.
I do not think that anyone has ever had 2 performances back-to-back 24 hours apart as incredible as Kota Ibushi did on these 2 shows.
It was completely insane, and oh my god, I loved that match so much with Jay White. I loved the
oh my god, man.
I loved Hiromu and Ishimori. That was just excellent as well. And the matches went ridiculously long, where Kota Ibushi and Jay White went just over 48 minutes, and it didn't feel like that at all.
Longest match in Tokyo Dome history, maybe like 1 minute and 20 seconds longer than Okada Omega 1. Man, I was watching this match and about 25 minutes in, I was like, this is great. I'm really into it. It's not gonna equal their G1 final for me. And 20 minutes later, I'm like, this is the greatest fucking match I've ever seen.
It was completely insane. Did you watch New Year's Dash?
Yes.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Yeah. Actually, Minoru Suzuki murdered a young lion with his bare hands, and it was very entertaining. Really lifted my mood today.
And Kevin Kelly is like, we're going to be having a memorial show in the next couple of weeks.
That was the highlight of New Year Dash was the interplay between Minoru Suzuki and Yuya Uemura.
All right, so let's get to this. You are watching and listening to the That's Wrestling podcast. We're going to be covering WrestleKingdom 15 Night 2 and New Year's Dash. If you want to listen to Night 1, it is in the podcast feed. It's also on YouTube and Twitch for at least a couple more days on Twitch before it falls off. If you are listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live over on Twitch and YouTube as well. So follow the links in the show notes and you can go hang out with us there. And for some reason, I'm having some issues. Oh yeah, that does help if I'm actually in the right account on YouTube. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, you can send those to eric@thatswrestling.com. You can also join our Discord. The link is in the show notes for that. Come hang out, talk wrestling, and some of my other projects as well. So come over, hang out, do that. My name is Eric LaRoche, and with me tonight I have Trae Wisecarver back once again. How's your sleep going? I don't think you watched Night 2 live, so
I did not. I couldn't make it. I didn't make it. So I watched Night 2 yesterday evening, and then I went to sleep. And I woke up today and watched New Year's Dash, and then I just got up from about a 3-hour nap right before we started recording, so I'm good to go.
All right, that sounds good. I watched New Year's Dash this morning when I woke up, and I had watched Night 2 yesterday, so at least I was pretty much up to date within 12 hours or so. So let's get to this show, WrestleKingdom Night 2, January 5th, 2021 in the Tokyo Dome. The crowd was a bit smaller on Night 2, somewhere around 7,500 or so from the 12,000 they had on Night 1. They just basically had to stop selling tickets when the government announced that we're going to be probably cracking down on some stuff, and now 5,000 max for events is the current, but also like at 50% capacity, so whatever. Basically, whichever is less is the one that they take. So we start off with the Provisional Championship for the King of Pro Wrestling 2021, starting with Chase Owens versus Bad Luck Fale versus Bushi versus Toru Yano. Bushi and Yano don't actually want to get into the ring. They're good to just let Fale and Owens fight it out. So Fale decides, I'm just going to give Chase the finger poke of doom. He takes a flop. They go for the pin, so they could basically... Fale could just steal it, and that's when Yano and Bushi decide, we should probably participate in this match. And during the match, we see a lot of teamwork from Fale and Chase. Chase is... Well, I wrote here, but then it changed. Is Chase good with letting Fale win? Bushi and Chase had a decent exchange. They exchanged pin attempts. Chase blocks an MX, Bushi blocks a package pile driver, and then Chase and Fale hit the grenade launcher on Bushi, and Fale kicks Chase's leg out when he's doing a bridge pin, and then goes for the pin himself. Chase pushes him off, so now the two of them are arguing, and I believe... Chase is like, if I win, we win. And Fale's like, if you win, you win. If I win, we win. And they kept going back. It was really funny. The ref is just trying to moderate. So they basically pick him up like they're going to do a double choke slam to him. Yano runs in, double low blow, and then pins Bushi, who had already been laid out from the grenade launcher. And Yano is the undefeated in King of Pro Wrestling Provisional and Championship matches so far.
As I expected. I will give the announcers a little bit of credit on this for the finger pokes, because I kind of thought the same thing, but they implied that okay, that was a plan just to get Yano and Bushi in the ring. So I appreciated that. That kind of makes it hold up logically that they were fighting over the pin later.
Right.
Yeah, this was a comedy match for a comedy title. But, you know, I feel like I think this is better as a comedy title than when I thought that they were going to actually do this, like, seriously. Like, you know, when... like when Okada was involved, and I thought that this was something that was going to matter. I thought that This was silly, but if it's going to be this, if it's going to be Yano's thing to be a fucking goofball, like I'm in favor of that.
I know. I kind of wanted to see cage matches and ladder matches in New Japan once in a while, which we never see either of those pretty much ever. I think they've only had one ladder match ever in New Japan. I think that was with Kenny Omega, right?
Yeah, one ladder match and 2 cage matches.
Yeah, so...
since the cage matches were in 2002 and 2004.
Yeah, so... not something we normally see. I mean, we rarely ever see 4-ways or triple threats at all. So yeah, seeing those would be very interesting to see a cage match or a ladder match or something like that. But anyways, we move on to the Junior Heavyweight Tag Championship match, and this was Master Wato and Ryusuke Taguchi versus El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Good to see Kanemaru back after dealing with a knee injury, which is why he had to sit out the Best of the Super Juniors. Desperado has I haven't been watching any of the shows since the end of the Best of Super Juniors. He has a mask that kind of cuts off it completely covers the bottom of his face, so like we lose even more like a showing of emotion without seeing like his mouth. I don't know. It gives a little bit of disconnect, but anyways. Wato ends up hitting a shotgun dropkick right off the bell, and Desperado is sent to the outside. Wato hits the tornillo. Taguchi runs the rope while Desperado just watches him go back and forth until Kanemaru pulls his leg, pulls Taguchi to the outside, works the knee on the barricade. On the other side of the ring, Desperado throws Wato into Tenzan, who had come down to second Master Wato. Back in the ring, behind the ref's back, Kanemaru slams Taguchi's knee into a chair. They continue to work over Taguchi's knee. Wato gets a tag in, hits a springboard uppercut, and Kanemaru blocks the Recidiamente. And every time Wato tries to attack Kanemaru pulls the ref in the way, so he has to stop. And then as the ref moves out of the way, Kanemaru hits whatever, either a punch or a kick or something along those lines. Taguchi hits a set of pull-in ass strikes, best I can call them, and then hits the Three Amigos on Desperado. Taguchi hits an exploder and is going to go for the Bomaye, but Kanemaru runs in, hits a drop kick to the knee. Desperado puts on numero dos, but Wato ends up breaking that up. Taguchi gets out of a pinche loco into an ankle lock, and then Taguchi hits a double knees. Kanemaru has to break up that pin, and then Wato hits a Recidiamente, and Taguchi hits the Bomaye for a 2. Kanemaru goes to use the whiskey bottle, but it's blocked. But with the referee distracted over that, Desperado hits a punch and then hits Pinche Loco to get the victory. So El Desperado and Kanemaru retain the junior heavyweight tag championship titles.
Yeah, only surprise there was that Taguchi took the fall instead of Master Wato. But they had a nice match. This wasn't what the junior tag title matches were when we had the Young Bucks and the Time Splitters and Forever Hooligans a few years back. But this was a nothing wrong with it. Good undercard tag match.
Yeah, Wato is starting to look better. He's looking more together with a lot of this stuff, and I think his confidence is growing. So some of his stuff doesn't look as hesitant and stuff.
Yeah, and the new gear is an improvement. It looks like a bigger deal with the new gear.
Yeah, a darker blue instead of kind of the baby powder blue with a weird cut in the waist. That's just a weird diagonal through his butt. It's kind of weird. I forgot about there was a third match that could have been match of the year. It had it came up short due to the other.
What I thought you were talking about.
Well, yeah, there's three potential matches of the year on this show. And this one was Jeff Cobb versus Shingo Takagi for the Never Openweight Championship. Jeff Cobb, a member of the Empire, after both Khan and Ospreay lost on night 1, he is going in, hopefully redeeming the Empire out of this. Shingo and Cobb meet in the middle, and they just throw a ton of forearms, and they also collide in the middle a bunch of times until Shingo gets the first tackle. He goes for a cover, and Cobb throws him 10 feet away from where he was with the kick out. On the outside, Cobb sends Shingo into the barricade and then just tosses him with a belly-to-belly overhead suplex on the floor. Cobb works over Shingo's midsection. We have some mirror spots where both of the guys hit a jab and then a clothesline, and the other one reciprocated with the same. Cobb teases a razor's edge or something of the like off the apron to the floor, but Shingo does escape and ends up hitting a flip over dive. It was actually more like a cannonball, given he was almost basically upside down by the time he actually hit Cobb, so it would have sucked if Cobb was not there to kind of allow him to finish his rotation. We have a Desperation Death Valley driver from Shingo at one point, and both guys come to a pause. They pretty much just beat the crap out of each other for a while. Cobb hits a pile driver, and then Cobb throws Shingo to the he's going to Irish whip him into the ropes, but he just collapses. Cobb then kind of pulls him up because he wants to do a tour of the islands, and this is where Shingo kind of was maybe playing possum a little bit. Chop blocks the knee, dragon screw to the knee, and then hits a Made in Japan for 2. Rocky says they should just name it the BMF title.
Yes, that's what I've been saying.
On commentary, we have a rebound German suplex from Cobb and then a tour of the islands, but Cobb is slow to cover after landing on his knee that has been being worked over throughout this match. And Shingo gets his foot on the ropes, so Cobb pulls it off and tries for a cover again, only gets a 2 count, and then they fight their way up to the top, but Shingo pulls Cobb down with a power bomb. Cobb hits what they called and what kind of looked like a standing moonsault power slam.
Yeah, I called it a what the fuck was that? But yeah,
it was basically a fall away slam, but with a flip instead. Yeah. They exchange strikes, and Shingo hits a twisting Uranagi, then turns Cobb inside out with a pumping bomber, and then hits last of the dragon and gets the victory. So the Empire goes 3-0, or 0-3 at WrestleKingdom, and Shingo retains his bad motherfucker title.
Dude, this match was fucking incredible. This is just like a fight between two movie monsters just brawling all over Tokyo, man. Fuck, like 3 minutes in, Cobb hit this absolutely effortless belly-to-belly overhead suplex on the floor at ringside. That was just a thing of beauty, man. The way that he moves so precisely and so fast, despite being an absolute brick shithouse of a man, is just so incredible. Cobb, by the way, had like some white, black, and gold gear that looked very White Ranger-ish. Like, it was unmistakable, so it had to have been on purpose. I appreciated that. Yeah, just a fucking battle. Man, so when Cobb hit the Tour of the Islands and he landed on his knee, he hit the move, but he landed on his knee. It took him a while to make the cover, and then Shingo still didn't kick out right away. He got a rope break, and then Cobb pulled him over and hooked his legs, and then Shingo kicked out.
Yeah.
So, like, that was the most you could protect somebody's finish and have them kick out of it. So I thought that was well placed. And then the part where Shingo was just trying to take him down with a pumping bomber, and Cobb wasn't going down, and Shingo finally manages to fucking suplex him. And then it just built and built to this awesome crescendo, and Shingo finally won. Man, I love the Never title. I love the identity that they've created for it. I love the idea that the IWGP Heavyweight Champion is the strongest, the IWGP Intercontinental Champion is the best, but the Never Champion is the baddest.
Yeah, this match was really awesome, and I'm looking forward to Shingo carrying this title throughout this year. He should have some pretty cracking matches. This is a title that is made for Shingo because he rides the line of light and heavyweight as far as his size. Though I don't know how he even qualifies as a junior. Anyways, he's huge. He's built like a tank, but I guess he might be a little shorter, so that's why he doesn't make up the weight. But he was the same weight. He was the same height as Cobb.
And do you remember what I said maybe like towards the end of the G1 that Tanahashi should maybe do next? Maybe Tanahashi should go after the Never title.
Yeah, so we do have some news on where the Never title is going to go after New Year's Dash, so we'll talk about that when we get there.
Love it, man. Can't wait.
Next up, we had basically it's just a grudge match against two former teammates, though basically it would look like whoever wins this match has at least some sort of claim to a possible title match against the winner of the main event. So basically, if you have watched any Evil match in the past 6 months, then you basically have seen this match, or at least the first half of this match. The timekeeper gets knocked over. We have the chair around the head, Dick Togo being, well, a dick. And they set up a table on the outside. Togo removes a turnbuckle pad. Timekeeper gets knocked over again. Togo hits Sanada with a chair behind the ref's back, while the ref is dealing with the timekeeper being wiped out again. Plenty of shenanigans from Togo here. Sanada makes some short comebacks, but always gets cut off. After an everything is evil, Sanada sends Evil into into the exposed turnbuckle, so that backfires on him a bit. Hits a TKO for a 2. He jams his knee on the landing, though, and he goes for a TKO, and then he goes for a moonsault, but he goes all the way over as Evil rolled out of the way, but he jams his knee on the landing. Evil then catches a kick and takes out the ref with it, and this is where Togo comes in and hits Sanada with a chair again, punches and stops on Sanada, double teaming from Evil and Togo. They hit a magic killer on Sanada. Togo goes up to the top rope, but Sanada pushes Evil into the ropes, causing Togo to fall. Sanada hits a moonsault into a skull end and brings it to the ground with the hooks in, but Sanada does the dumbest thing that he always does, as instead of just letting the ref stop the match, he lets the hold go so he can go for a moonsault, and of course, Evil gets the knees up, though he hit a moonsault to the back and then rolled Evil over, so when he went for the second one, that is when Evil got his hands up. Togo tries to choke Sanada with the garrote, and Sanada ends up escaping and then sending Evil into Togo, who does the most hilarious basically dive through the table that they had previously set up. It looked like he was basically wrestling the table, how he delivered himself through the table. It was very comical. He jumped like a mile in the air so he could like get through the table. It was really funny. Instead of just like falling off the apron and going through it. Sanada tries for a clutch pin for a 2 count, and then Sanada hits an everything is Sanada and then hits a pop-up TKO moonsault and gets the victory over his former tag partner.
So I spent the whole match waiting for the inevitable to happen. I knew it was inevitable and there was no point in getting invested in the match. So finally, at like 17 minutes in, they bumped the ref and Togo came in with a chair, and they hit Sanada with Magic Killer. But then with Dick Togo, he went up top for the senton, and Sanada kicked Evil into the ropes and knocked Togo down, and Togo audibly yelling, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked the bump through Chekhov's table. And the idea that Evil accidentally took out his own backup. They've been heavily leaning on this idea that Evil is not a top guy without Togo's interference, which, given everything we've seen the past 6 months, is objectively true. This was good. It's probably better than I expected. Probably a little bit better than I'm giving it credit for. I've been saying for 3 months on here how goddamn sick I am with these Evil matches.
Oh my god, they're the same match over and over again. This is kind of the thing that's really wearing on me. Is we get the same pattern, not only the same pattern, but the same exact spots. Where it starts off the same thing. Evil goes to the outside. He keeps knocking over the timekeeper when he sends somebody into the barricade. Does the chair around the neck spot with Dick Togo distracting the ref, and then during this they remove the turnbuckle pad every single time. It like the exact same sequence of events, and it's just like so played out at this point. It's just like seeing the same match over and over and over again. Like that is like the biggest problem here.
I agree. I fucking wish they'd do something different.
And I think the other problem is now with Togo basically having to get involved with every Evil match, and every Evil match ending without Evil doing everything on his own. It makes him look like ridiculously weak. Not just like he'll take the shortcuts. It's like he has to take the shortcuts, or else he's totally screwed.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess that works as a character. I don't know. It's just I was having some trouble during this show kind of rectifying the fact that the same booker who booked this incredible multi-year story that just culminated with Kota Ibushi also gave us the Reign of Evil. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, at least he did pull the plug on the Reign of Evil pretty quickly, though. I mean, we only had to live with it for what, like 2.5, 3 months.
Yeah, and like I said, I was completely fine with the evil angle like through the summer. You know, you that's just like a classic, you do in fucking Memphis with Lawler 30 years ago. The heel fucks the babyface and wins the belt, and then the babyface comes back and gets it back. So when Naito won the belt back at Jingu Stadium, I was like, okay, cool, that was fine. And then we went into the G1, and they just kept doing the same fucking thing over and over, and it's been the same thing ever since.
Yeah. All right, we move on to the semi-main event of the evening. This is the first time the Junior Heavyweight Championship has gone second to last. This is the highest it's gone up on the card for Tokyo Dome show, which is, I mean, that's just, I have a feeling if they could probably, with Hiromu, main event a Tokyo Dome and put on the Junior last at some point, if within the next couple of years.
Yeah, especially if they keep doing the double domes, I could absolutely see Hiromu main eventing one of the shows. He's such a fucking star, man. My God, he's such a star.
All he has to do is not kill himself. That's the biggest thing here. That's my biggest worry. I'm not worried about him as a character. I'm mostly worried about him as a person not being able to even get there.
Yeah.
So we start off with Taiji Ishimori defending his belt against Hiromu Takahashi, and they start off with a blistering pace. Hiromu goes for a sunset bomb. Ishimori flips out, and Hiromu ends up hitting a pop-up apron bomb instead. This just and then just gives Ishimori a body slam on the entrance ramp, and Hiromu starts walking up the ramp towards the entrance, and then he runs full speed at Ishimori, and Ishimori is already stood up by this point. I like on commentary they're talking about, on your screen the lighting looks a lot different than it does here in person, and they played it off that, hey, there's a spotlight following Hiromu, and it was going to be in his eyes given the direction, and that's why I didn't see Ishimori standing up so early. So a good cover there if it wasn't actually the truth. That could have been. Ishimori basically turns the shotgun dropkick attempt into kind of a half power bomb. They called it like a side suplex, but it was kind of like a half power bomb where he caught one leg and not the other. Ishimori removes a turnbuckle pad back in the ring while Hiromu is answering a 20 count. Once he gets back into the ring, Hiromu ends up getting sent into that turnbuckle pad back first and then shoulder first. Ishimori hits an arm breaker, and then Hiromu comes back with a flying head scissors shotgun dropkick on the floor. Falcon Arrow back in the ring for a 2 count. He hits a really great pop-up power bomb, overhead throw into the corner, Death Valley driver into the corner, and Hiromu holds onto it and then hits a running Death Valley driver in the middle of the ring as well. Ishimori escapes a time bomb, and they exchange some kicks. Ishimori goes for a springboard kick, or handspring kick, and Ishimori turns that into a German suplex. Ishimori fires back with this insanely high-speed Canadian destroyer, and it was so fast. They were talking about on commentaries. Some guys exchange forearms. Some guys exchange Canadian destroyers. They exchange forearms while they're making their way up from the ground. Hiromu gets hit with like 25 unresponded to elbows. He just keeps standing up. He gets dropped. He drops like a brick, and then he stands back up, takes a couple more, drops down again. And like the ref is like contemplating stopping the match because Hiromu's not even protecting himself from these shots, and he just keeps getting knocked out. And Hiromu struggles. Ends up getting hit with a shoulder into the turnbuckle, the exposed turnbuckle, and then a hammerlock shoulder breaker. And then Ishimori hits the La Mystica into the Yes Lock. Hiromu struggles and struggles to the ropes. Ishimori then hits the double drop knees to the chest for a 2 count. Hiromu hits a desperation victory royale and for a 2 count. Hiromu hits another Death Valley driver, this time into the exposed turnbuckle, and then hits Time Bomb. 1, 2. Ishimori kicks out. They struggle for position. Hiromu goes for a Time Bomb 2, but Ishimori works his way around into the Bone Lock. And but when he locks it, he has it locked in, and Hiromu is slowly getting towards the ropes, so he rolls it back into the middle where he loses the hold. Hiromu hits another victory royale and then hits a Time Bomb 2, and Hiromu gets the pin and is once again the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. This match went, a little over 35 minutes?
25.
25.
Unless I fucked up, I got 25.
Okay, it was probably 25.
Yeah, this was great. It didn't hit quite as much for me as Hiromu versus ELP, but it was a great match, man. 90 seconds in, Hiromu gave Ishimori a pop-up powerbomb onto the corner of the ring apron, and I was horrified. My God, Ishimori sold it by screaming like his back was broken. This was right before the spot you talked about with Hiromu running down the ramp. Man, the English announcers are so fucking good. The past several years, man, when I do my Observer Awards ballots, best TV announcer, Kevin Kelly. Just I don't even have to think about it. Fuck, he's great.
Kevin Kelly is amazing, especially basically when I started watching New Japan regularly. It was just about the time when they started to use him as much as humanly possible. I came in watching the year, it was the last year that they didn't do English commentary in every G1 show, and now they do. And then the second G1 I watched with him, even if you didn't watch some stuff, he always fills you in. He runs over tons of history. If you didn't watch, luckily this year they didn't, but the previous years, if you didn't watch the bazillion undercard matches for every G1 show, he would at least let you know if something happened important in them. Yeah, Kevin Kelly has been amazing. I do miss Gino a little bit, but Kevin Charlton did a really good job, and Rocky was, of course, good.
I miss Gino too. Rocky is great. Chris Charlton, man. I am such a huge New Japan nerd that I really appreciate Chris Charlton. He's he brings up stuff from deeper into there aren't too terribly many people that have a more thorough knowledge of the history of New Japan than me, and he's one of them.
He specifically learned Japanese so he could understand New Japan announcers. That's how dedicated to New Japan he is.
He wrote a book called Lion's Pride about the history of New Japan, and I read it, and I noticed just enough careless mistakes that I'm like, man, if you would do a second edition of this and let me as an editor, we would have the perfect history of New Japan right here. Because it's just careless mistakes that someone who knew the content would catch. But anyway, yeah, man, the English announcers are I remember, when they first started, everybody's like, oh, I've always watched Japanese wrestling with the Japanese announcers, and blah, which so have I. I still watch wrestling with Japanese commentary all the time. Doesn't bother me. I'll watch this with Japanese commentary if I need to, if there's not, English commentary. But man, they very quickly got so good that if you are an English, an English speaker, and you do not watch with the English commentary, you are missing out on so much of the story.
That, and if you've never watched New Japan ever, they get you up to speed immediately. You don't feel like a complete outsider watching for the first time when they are on commentary.
Yeah, man. So yeah, the match was great, and the New Japan English announcers are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, this match was really good. Like you said, I think the ELP and Takahashi was a little bit better, but again, this was a really solid match. This is probably the best match between Hiromu and Ishimori that they've done, and I'm sure we'll probably see another one in the next year. I'm guessing Ishimori is going to be coming back for wanting another shot at the belt, so we'll see how that turns out. Should be an interesting year coming up. And then we have the final match of the evening. This is a Jay White cashing in the briefcase, which he had basically stolen from Kota Ibushi for the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championship that Kota Ibushi won from Tetsuya Naito on the previous night. And Jay White, while he's making his way into the ring, is yelling, "You remember how I got this?" Referring to the briefcase. And Kevin Kelly mentioning, Jay White tends to tell his opponents how he's going to try to beat them. And so it's kind of very prophetic, just like how Jon Moxley does the same thing. But this time, Kota Ibushi was prepared. Jay White is slow to start as usual, powdering a few times. And when they finally get going, Gato pulls the leg, and Jay White is tongue-in-cheek chastising him. Don't touch him on the outside. Gato puts his arms around Ibushi pops him in the mouth with an elbow. Jay White hits a hanging DDT when Ibushi's getting back into the ring. White sends Ibushi into the edge of the ring 4 times in a row, and then hits a gut buster when they get back into the ring for a 2. He does some knee drops to the kidney, stomps on the midsection, so try to basically take out his center, and catapult hanging up Bushi on the bottom rope. And for whatever reason, Red Shoes refused to count the pin. It's not like this was getting a little Red Shoes is getting a little crotchety here. But it plays into a little while later. But yeah,
man. I don't know. I could watch Jay White heel in a big match all day. He's just so fucking great, so cerebral. Like, I just can't believe. Like, I didn't know. I knew that he was going to be a great wrestler. But you never know what they're going to develop into, and the fact that he just has morphed into the most amazing rotten son of a bitch there's ever been was really. It's really phenomenal. This match just so fucking great, man.
Yeah, he's great.
The targeting the knee like in the G1. And important point. This is an important part of the story. Jay White came into this 3-1 against Kota Ibushi in singles matches. The only time Ibushi has beaten Jay White was the 2019 G1 final. Jay beat Ibushi last year at the Tokyo Dome. He beat him on night 1 in the G1, and then beat him at Power Struggle for the briefcase. And you knew when he came out taunting with the briefcase, you knew they were going to do the spot, and they did, and it was perfect.
We have White spiking Ibushi with a DDT, and Red Shoes and Jay exchange some words. Ibushi comes back with a kick standing moonsault. At the 15-minute call, Jay White has basically been in control for about 13 of the 15 minutes. He was beating the crap out of Ibushi for a very long time. White hits a blade buster for a 2, double underhook suplex into the corner, and Ibushi hits a desperation Saito suplex. We have a double down, and they exchange forearms on their way to their feet. They exchange some roll-ups, and Ibushi ends up standing up out of a roll-up and hitting a bastard driver. Ibushi misses a Bomaye, and White ends up hitting a Saito suplex of his own. Massive Uranagi for a 2. He hits a Kiwi Crusher, and then once again, White tries to do the pin, and he has his feet up onto the ropes, and that's how he won the briefcase. But this time, Red Shoes sees this and stops the count. And while White is on his knees arguing with Red Shoes, Bushi hits him with a buzzsaw kick. And then White covers up to avoid a Kamigoye. But when he does pop his head up, he ends up eating another head kick. They continue going back and forth. Some more. White pulls Ibushi off the top rope, and chop blocks the leg. Some inverted dragon screws. Puts on the TTO, or the Tanahashi tap out, which is basically a reverse figure 4. Then we get Zombie Ibushi, and he beats the shit out of Jay White. He throws a forearm, Ibushi drops him. So White throws one forearm, Ibushi drops him with the one that he fires back. White tries it again.
Out of the ring to the floor with a fucking forearm, man. Gato is yelling at Jay White to not engage.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Murder Emu, like just so. Kota Ibushi's the fucking greatest. And then fucking Jay White, he has gotten his ass beat so bad. This is Jay White, most arrogant motherfucker on the planet, laid down and told Ibushi to pin him. He was getting his ass beat so bad. And Ibushi, this is the motherfucker that has fucked him over and over again, tried to take his title shot, done all this shit. Ibushi was gonna kill this motherfucker. And he's just like, Ibushi, White is laying there asking to be pinned, and Ibushi just goes up and slapping the shit out of him in the face. It's awesome.
Yeah, stomping him as well. And when the ref tries to intervene and try to stop Ibushi, then Jay White sips up and punches Ibushi right in the balls. White rolls Ibushi to the outside and then runs him back and forth between the barricade and the ring, saying, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you every time. And they fight onto the entrance ramp. White lays Ibushi out with a forearm, and then White tells Red Shoes not to count. And this happens at the 35-minute call. And as soon as Ibushi gets back into the ring, White hits a flatliner, a deadlift, 2 deadlift German suplexes in a row with Ibushi landing on his head each time. They fight onto the apron. White looks like he wants to suplex Ibushi. They fight for position, but end up getting back into the ring. White escapes to the apron once again. Ibushi pulls him back with a second rope suplex, last ride powerbomb for a 2 count, and then White hits a sleeper suplex, then another. Ibushi just keeps landing on his head. Then we see a regal plex with bridge for a 2 count, and this happens at the 40-minute mark. Ibushi escapes a Blade Runner, goes for a backslide, but lets White roll backwards through it, stands up and delivers a Kamigoye, but only gets a 2 count. Ibushi goes to the top, and Ibushi hits a Phoenix Splash. 1, 2, Gato pulls the ref out of the ring, and then Gato gets into the ring with the brass knuckles. But
Kevin Kelly screams, "God damn you, Gato!"
and Ibushi gives him a Kamigoye for his troubles. Ibushi then goes to the outside and helps the ref back into the ring. And as Ibushi gets into the ring, White hits a Blade Runner. And Ibushi barely gets his shoulder up. Both guys are spent and slow to get up. Ibushi starts to pull up White, but Ibushi grabs the reverse figure 4 in the middle, and Ibushi almost makes it to the ropes, but White pulls him back into the middle, and Ibushi just weakly gets a hand draped onto the ropes at the 45-minute call to break up the submission attempt. White then catches a V-trigger attempt, hits another regal plex for a 2 count. then hits a Bloody Sunday, goes for a Blade Runner. This time, Ibushi hits a massive V-trigger, and then White ends up hitting 3 kicks to the face, but Ibushi fires back with another V-trigger. Ibushi pulls White up to his knees. White tries for a Blade Runner. Ibushi clotheslines the crap out of him, and then Ibushi hits a Kamigoye to the back of the head, pulls down the knee pad, hits another Kamigoye to the face, and Kota Ibushi gets the pinfall victory, and he retains his IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships.
Oh my god, so the point, Gato in with brass knuckles, Ibushi murders him to death with the Kamigoye and goes to help Red Shoes back in. He comes back in, White hits him with the Blade Runner that no one has ever kicked out of, and Ibushi, like, just barely at the last second, kicks out of the Kamigoye, and Chris Charlton just his voice so weakly, he goes, I can't take much more of this. Oh my god, it was amazing. And then that nasty, the Inzui Kamigoye. I'll Kamigoye to the back of the head. Jesus Christ. And then the exposed knee. And, this was one of the most epic battles I have ever seen, man. Like, the match is over, and White is reaching weakly for the belts and having them pulled away from him, and you can just see like the confidence and the soul being drained out of him. And fucking Kevin Kelly is crying, Rocky and Chris are crying, Milano Collection AT is crying. What a fucking beautiful moment, man.
Yeah, and like I said, after the match, like, Red Shoes got the belts, he puts them on the edge of the ring, and while he's trying to slide into the ring, Jay White is, like, pawing at them, and Red Shoes just, like, yanks them away from him. But then they're also, like, close to each other, and Jay White is still trying to fight, similar, like, how Ibushi and Ishii during their G1, at the end of the G1, they're still trying to slap each other or whatever. So he's still doing that. The Young Lions are just kind of trying to keep them apart while they're both completely dead on the ground, just throwing phantom punches, basically. And then Sanada makes his way down to the ring in a nice 3-piece suit. He has taken the time to go back after his match, get showered and changed. He comes out and he says he'd like to challenge Ibushi. And Ibushi says he recognizes that he lost what I won from you at the G1 finals, referring to losing the briefcase to Jay. But I have something even greater now, and I'm looking forward to wrestling you some more in these uncertain times. We're not sure when this match is going to take place, but I'm up for it. I won't escape. I won't quit. I won't betray you. I have become God. And Kota Ibushi is at the top of the mountain of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
What a fucking baby face, man. God. Incredible.
So we move on to the next night, New Year's Dash, January 6th, also in Tokyo, but this time in, what is it, like the city center, the Tokyo Dome City Center or something like that.
Yeah, Tokyo Dome City Hall, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like basically it looks like kind of a concert venue where they have a stage and they have like three like decks of seating and kind of like what you normally see as like general admin floor.
Yeah, Kevin Kelly actually described it. It's kind of like the Hammerstein Ballroom. And it is, except it's a bigger venue.
But with 3 balconies instead of just one.
Yeah.
And they also said that's underground, too. That's like subterranean.
You said like 3 floors below what Chris Charlton said.
Yeah, that's probably good for acoustics and probably not, and probably if loud bands are in there, it's not coming out onto the street or anything. So they could probably go till 3 a.m. and no one will hear them. So they talk about a little bit while they're kind of getting the first match ready to go. They're talking about how Kota Ibushi has some comments that he wants either the belts to be unified or to split them up. He doesn't want to have this dual championship thing anymore.
Well, they're so heavy.
Right. Well, he said they're heavy, but not in a physical way. That I think that's what they were getting at. So interesting there. They're also talking about Jay White. I did not see his promo, but I get the gist of it was something along the lines of he is sick of totally being screwed and basically he's quitting.
Yeah, the idea is that he's just, he had like this master plan and he ends up losing in the main event of the Tokyo Dome and he's just kind of broken. Which will deepen on this show.
So I didn't write a ton down for these matches. Nothing really huge stood out. So we had Yuji Nagata versus Gabriel Kidd. Not a bad match. Nagata basically beat the crap out of him for a while. But Kidd did get some good offense. We had a nice full crab spot. And Nagata ended up tapping out the young lion with the Nagata lock.
Yeah, man, Nagata lock too. But yeah, the veteran testing the young lion is what you expect. It's one of the better versions of this because Yuji Nagata is the best. But yeah, very, very fun little match.
Next up, we had Yuya Uemura and Tiger Mask versus Minoru Suzuki and Doki. Uemura is a foolish man because he wants Suzuki, but Doki ends up starting off with him. But Uemura, during their exchange, knocks Suzuki off of the ring apron twice. Suzuki gets tagged in, and he beats the crap out of Uemura. And this is where Kevin Kelly is like, we'll be having a Uemura memorial show in the next couple weeks. He gets beat up on the outside. He gets beat up on the inside. Tiger Mask comes in to beat on Doki for a bit, but then gives Suzuki the most ugly tiger driver I have ever seen. It looked like he just did not get him up while we should have.
It was bad.
He tags in Uemura, who hits Suzuki with a ton of forearms with zero effect, and then in the end, Suzuki hits a gotch pile driver on Uemura and gets the pin. So a little bit of respect shown from Suzuki for Uemura having the balls to fight him by using the gotch pile driver to finish him off.
When Uemura knocked Suzuki off the apron the first time, and Suzuki gets up with just this look of pure murder on his face, comes in and grabs Uemura, gets him in a cross-arm breaker on the ropes, drags him out of the ring, just fucking beats him to death, man. It was beautiful. And Uemura kept firing back, and it just pissed Suzuki off more. And then they got in the ring and did it some more, and it just so fucking ruled, man. And okay, I had a thought. Because clearly Uemura is ready to move up, and clearly with the world, it's going to be challenging to do a proper excursion right now. What if Suzuki was so impressed that he decided to invite Uemura into Suzuki-gun and train him himself?
I thought that right before you said that. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I was thinking, I'm like, do I want to see Uemura fight Suzuki? And no, actually, I want to see Suzuki take him under his wing, and we have the murderer number 2.
Dude, and you knew Uemura wasn't gonna win, but when he got an inside cradle that was so freaking close. Oh, that was such a great false finish. One of these days, and they've done it before, and I haven't seen it in a while. But like one of these days, Uemura is going to catch somebody, and it's just going to. Now, I think if I was booking this, I might have had Uemura catch Suzuki with that cradle, and then Suzuki just beat him to death, but then invite him to join Suzuki-gun.
Well, we could see that in the next month or two. That's a possibility. Then we had the Empire of Will Ospreay, Jeff Cobb, and Great Okan with B. Priestley at ringside, though she actually didn't play into this match pretty much at all. Yoda versus Yoda Tsuji, Satoshi Kojima, and Hiroyoshi Tenzan. The Empire attacks as soon as Tenzan is announced. A few things of note here. Yoda Tsuji actually took it to Cobb, and he took Cobb off of his feet when they clashed in the middle trying to shoulder tackle each other. The finish was cool, though. They had Cobb and Khan held Yoda Tsuji up in the air, and Will Ospreay did a second rope os cutter to Yoda Tsuji, and they get the victory, and the Empire continue to beat Tsuji down after the match is over. Khan beats up Tenzan with the TTD, and Ospreay lays out Kojima with a hidden blade. And then after the match, Ospreay is pretty much a madman, grabs the mic. He says, "You think we're all weak after what happened at Wrestle Kingdom? Oh, I'm not. You think I was angry before Wrestle Kingdom? Well, I'm pissed off now." And he says it's their year to take over, and they are the United Empire. Will Ospreay yells more like a madman at Kevin Kelly while he's leaving as well. And they have to stretcher out Tenzan.
Yeah, this was a good match and a good way to rebuild the Empire after they all lost at Wrestle Kingdom. But man, Ospreay came out. He just looked so morose and upset, and it was kind of great to see people actually react to losing the way that a high-end professional athlete would react to losing. Nobody on this card who lost at Wrestle Kingdom laughed it off, and I appreciate that.
So I'm curious where they're going to go with the Empire. I'm assuming they're not going to feud with Kojima, Tenzan, and Yoda Tsuji. So curious what the next steps for them are. I would think that Will Ospreay is going to go on a pretty decent journey this year. And do you see even possibility we have Ospreay winning the G1 this year?
I think they finally, a few years ago, they finally gave the G1 to a foreigner who they thought would stay with New Japan long term, and then he didn't. And after that, I think that it might be a very long time before, if ever, we see another foreigner win the G1.
Well, I guess it would depend on because I believe like Jay White has a 7-year contract with New Japan. So yeah, depending on how long.
Jay White, I actually think is not going anywhere. Like he's made clear, like WWE or anything has never been like a part of his world. And he's, if the thing is like if you're from Australia or New Zealand, it's a lot easier to work in Japan than it is for the United States.
Yeah, but I mean, Will Ospreay is from the UK. He's not from the US, right. And he has moved. He and B. Priestley live basically full time in Japan.
Yeah, and you're right. It maybe Ospreay has said he's pretty much. I think he's in New Japan for. He's going to be like Nakamura. He is going to be in New Japan for as long as he feels like he can hang physically. And then I think he said that eventually it'll be time to go to WWE, which is probably like Nakamura when your body's not going to hold up to that New Japan style anymore. So you go to live on the beach and make that WWE money.
Retirement plan.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Zack Sabre Jr., Taichi, Kanemaru, and Desperado versus Suzuki Gun faction versus a Bullet Club faction of Taiji, Ishimori, ELP, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa. Again, they are still in possession of the Iron Glove, which Taichi is not happy about. For the most part, this match was just a brawl amongst these guys. One thing I wrote down, hilariously, ELP gave Desperado a titty twister. And and Kevin Kelly's like, I'm not even going to describe that. And then ELP finished off Kanemaru with a super kick, and they're playing it off like he might have a loaded boot.
Yeah, that was the impression. They're joking about, he didn't have a ring during the pandemic, so he was practicing by super kicking trees in British Columbia, which if you've ever been to British Columbia, they have some very thick trees. So, maybe his foot has just become, toughened.
Right.
Bullet Club versus Suzuki Gun matches are so weird because Suzuki Gun are de facto baby faces. And that was kind of like part of the match where Desperado made a little comeback and got a cheer and was kind of confused.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So this was, and I assumed as soon as I saw the card announced. So ELP pinning Kanemaru looks to be he and Ishimori want a shot at the junior tag titles, which they lost at Wrestle Kingdom last year and never got a rematch because the world fell apart.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's probably the match coming out of this one, and obviously Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are now the current heavyweight champions, defeating Zack Sabre Jr. and Taiji. So I'm wondering if they're going to get a rematch, or I assume they. I don't know. We'll see. They might get a rematch.
I would think so.
Yeah. Next up, we had Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale, Yujiro Takahashi, Jay White, and Evil versus Toru Yano, Kazuchika Okada, Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto, and Tomohiro Ishii. So Bullet Club versus Chaos. Jay White is all downtrodden. He doesn't do any posing when he is called. He did participate in the 2 Sweet with the rest of the Bullet Club. They're basically pushing that Jay White is quitting wrestling on commentary. And that is the biggest thing throughout this entire match. Ishii ends the match with a vertical brainbuster and pins Jay White. So Jay White ends up losing 2 nights in a row, and this time to Ishii, who has his number, because I believe he's lost to Ishii quite a few times.
Well, he lost to him on the last night of the G1 and kept him out of the final, which the announcers pointed out that might have been kind of the start of all this, that Jay had to come up with another plan to get into the main event of Wrestle Kingdom, which led to the whole thing of him challenging for the briefcase and screwing Ibushi over. There's like a law of diminishing returns with these multi-man tag matches. A 4-man is good, a 6-man is great, an 8-man might be good, but a 10-man is almost always just too many guys doing not very much. So yeah, this was kind of that. But it's all about it. It was to further this Jay White story, which I don't know. I assume that he will disappear for a little while,
take a little time off.
Yeah,
maybe. Who knows? He might be having something nagging that he needs to take care of.
Yeah.
Who knows?
There's still, he may just. I think because you notice like there was no Kenta on New Year Dash at all, and I wonder if some guys are already headed back to the U.S. to do whatever.
That was another thing I was going to bring up. There might be I noticed just kind of how it all worked out. I believe the only Gaijin holding titles right now are Guerrillas of Destiny. I think everything else is held by a Japanese wrestler, and I think they might possibly, and just how they paired off of who's challenging who for stuff, it doesn't look like any Gaijin are in title matches or any title programs coming up, other than ELP, but he's from Australia. So I think they might be assuming that people might be ejected from the country with upcoming lockdowns and stuff like that, possibly Japan kind of cracking down on closing in borders a little bit.
ELP is Canadian, but
is he? I thought. No. Sorry, it's Robbie Eagles who's Australian. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, wonder what's going to happen with that. There has been talk about there's been a COVID spike in Japan, right. And there's been some talk about a shutdown in Tokyo. So
yeah,
Who knows, man? We'll just have to see what happens going forward.
Yep. And then the last match of the evening is a long one. Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, Sanada, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, so all of LIJ versus Kota Ibushi, Sho, Rocky Romero, Master Wato, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Again, nothing special in this match. Bushi pinned Wato with the MX, and this is where Hiromu challenges Sho for the junior heavyweight title. Shingo challenges Tanahashi for the Never, and Sanada had already challenged Kota Ibushi for the double championship, and basically all of them accept what is going to come out of this. So Shingo versus Tanahashi for the Never Openweight. This is going to be interesting. Who the heck knows when it's going to take place? I'm guessing at a New Beginning show at the end of the month, but we'll see.
Inject that straight into my veins. Yeah, I actually wrote Bushi pinning Wato will lead to nothing, but I was wrong because Bushi challenged Master Wato to a singles match. So yeah, that'll be a big match. I think Wato will probably get a big win there.
Yes,
a big win for Master Wato.
It makes sense. And Shingo versus Tanahashi is intriguing, especially because with Tanahashi's knees, the style that Shingo works is the style that would benefit Tanahashi going forward. He does very little running. It's all striking based for the most part and some power moves here and there. And Tanahashi could kind of move into that type of style and definitely save what's left of his body.
Yeah, man, I am all for Tanahashi taking a stab at the Never title. I've been calling for that for a while.
Hiromu versus Sho.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I wonder if they might. That might main event a medium big show. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
I mean, their match at the Best of the Super Juniors was really good. And Sho has stepped it up so much as a singles since Yo has been injured. I'm curious if they even bother putting Yo and Sho back together as a team when Yo comes back, given how much Sho has just started to impress, and he has been doing an excellent job as a singles. So I'm curious.
Yeah, definitely time for Sho to. But I mean, the thing about New Japan is that everything, it's so tag team based, and these singles matches are fairly rare that, like, they'll probably still team a lot. But yeah, I think Sho, which, it's going to be rough for him because he's not Hiromu, so Hiromu is going to be the top guy in the division. But yeah, I think it's time for. Man, Sho is so good, and he's another guy who could, he could take another stab at the Never title. He's kind of a power junior who fits well in that situation. He's I anticipate, some good stuff from Sho this year.
Yeah, and even if we start to open up somewhere around the late summer and people can start moving around, Sho doing some stuff in some other promotions, either in the UK or even in the US once in a while outside of New Japan stuff, I think he could really start to make a kind of a little bit of a indie darling on his name.
Yeah, could definitely do that. Man, get some Sho and Ring of Honor. They've got that relationship.
All right. So that kind of wraps it up for our WrestleKingdom coverage. Man, WrestleKingdom 15. This one's gonna go down as one of the two best shows in the row. Yeah, some great matches,
dude. Fucking Kota Ibushi. This has just been, these shows were, last year was the culmination of that long Tetsuya Naito story. This year is the culmination of the Kota Ibushi story they've been telling since, like, at least the 2018 G1 and kind of in ways before that. I've never even with like guys who were, in the G1 block finals and then the final, man, nobody has ever had two matches back to back 24 hours apart that were that great.
Yeah, and I'm curious what 2021 has to offer. I'm assuming the Jay White storyline is going to be a heavily played one through this year. We obviously, I speculated maybe Will Ospreay winning the G1. It could be Jay White winning the G1 this year. Do you expect Kota Ibushi to carry the title through next year's Wrestle Kingdom, or into next year's Wrestle Kingdom at least?
I will say cautiously yes. I think maybe more likely could be Ospreay winning the New Japan Cup and getting a title shot that way. Because I definitely think there's going to be an Ibushi Ospreay title match this year.
Alrighty. I guess we'll see how that works out. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap it up here?
Nah, man, I'm good. Follow me on Twitter at Wrestling Cleo. Sometimes I tweet the link to these shows.
His handle is also in the show notes, and I don't think we will be back with New Japan until after January 30th, where we have New Beginning in Nagoya. Probably. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. That's kind of the biggest show that they have on the schedule. They don't have any shows until January 17th. Almost 11 days away. And Kevin Kelly will be in Japan through, I believe, the 12th is when he leaves. So he should be calling the New Beginning in Nagoya and possibly one, if not both, nights of the New Beginning in Hiroshima. So that should be good to have those called live as well, so we won't have any delays there. So thanks for watching and listening, everybody, to That's Wrestling. If you have any comment, question, feedback, you can leave those either in the comment section of the video or send them to eric@thatswrestling.com. You can come hang out with us in Discord. The link is in the show notes. If you're listening, this is a podcast. We do these shows live on both Twitch and YouTube, so you can choose your app, your platform of choice. The link are in the show notes for those. And leave a review over on your podcast app of choice. It really helps us out in the search results. So for Trae Wisecarver, my name is Eric LaRoche, and you've been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.
Bye.